Before we get started, I'd like to thank my Patreons, Adam Steele, Zachary Remade, and Unfamous Studios. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, but onto the behind the scenes stuff. When making a video like this, I went by a shot-by-shot basis. I kept a close eye on the original game's cutscene as a whole, because I really wanted to stay accurate, right down to the frame where Spider-Man shoots his webs. To figure this out, I would take out the original cutscene and divide it into moments. Let's take this shot here for example where Spider-Man walks out the door. Keep in mind, I'm watching the game at 30 frames per second, but I animate at 15 frames per second. This means for every 2 frames of animation in the game, there's only 1 frame of my own. I mostly did this because I animate pretty much everything in 15 frames per second. I noticed that Spider-Man in the game walked for 1 second and 28 frames. Now because I'm animating at half the rate of the game, this means I will need to take exactly 29 frames to match the speed and synchronization. So for every major jump, web spin, or something like slow-mo, I figured out exactly how many frames I needed to spend animating that shot to keep things in sync. For every shot, I will build a new set that would match the one in the game. There were a couple panning shots that the background move as Spider-Man will traverse through it. Like this shot where Spider-Man runs across the rooftop, and this other one where he's in slow-mo through the air. For these shots, I built a platform out of Lego, and then decorated it to look like, the rooftop or the set, or whatever I needed it to look like. I would then place it on the original set, without attaching it, so that way I could slide the platform along. When Spider-Man is running, he's actually staying in one place, and so is the camera. I'm just moving the set along so it gives the illusion that he's running and the camera is following him. I do this again in the shot where he's spinning in the air in slow-mo. For the slow-mo, I did not want to risk moving the camera, because if I moved it wrong or I bumped it, it would ruin the entire effect and it would just all fall apart. So I just moved the street that was under Spider-Man instead, while keeping both Spider-Man and the camera in one place. Now, there are shots where I actually do move the camera, like this first shot here and the last shot here. A few of you actually asked me in both Batman's Building Brawl and this remake exactly how I got the camera movement so smooth. And really, I just animate the camera as if it were another character. There's a trick I use called slow, fast, settle, in which whenever I move a character, the initial movements in the first 2 or 3 frames are very tiny. As the movement builds momentum, the gap in the positions grow greater. And finally, once the movement is done, you need to settle it by adding some bounce, or just going back to tiny movements again until it stops. People call this easing in and out, but I'm dumb and I call it slow, fast, settle. Whenever I move the camera, I follow that same principle. This is so when the camera starts to move, it's not so fast that it catches the audience by surprise, and they have a few seconds to react to how it's moving. Once it settles, it still shifts a bit, but that's just the way momentum works. Sometimes it's different though. For the last shot, the camera was always moving. It didn't stay in one place for a while and then shift. It followed Spider-Man the entire way through. The way I managed to keep this looking smooth is that I used Spider-Man as the one focal piece that didn't move away from the center of the camera. No matter how crazy the background moves, Spider-Man stays in the same position. Your eye never has too much to keep track of, and doing this makes the action easy to follow and fun to watch. Every frame Spider-Man is in the air is a combination of 2 different images. There's one of just the background objects, and a second identical photo with Spider-Man in it doing the pose I need him to do. But there's a twist. He's not actually in the air, he's suspended by a rig of Lego. The reason I took that photo of the background is so that I could use it to paint over that rig and make it look like he's chilling in the air. For some shots, like this one, the camera is continuously moving, meaning the background is different for each frame. This means I took twice as many photos than what you see in the actual video to achieve this effect. But hey, whatever it takes. Now for some fun trivia. This shot took 6 straight hours because I had to build the set as Spider-Man continuously traveled through it. This shot took me 3 days because of how many attempts I needed to get it right. For this entire project, I took exactly 799 different photos. I started this project on April 16th and finished on April 27th. And thank you guys so much for watching. Honestly, the praise, honestly, just like the reception I've been getting from this video. Some of the people who actually worked on Spider-Man PS4 were sharing this, so that's pretty crazy to me on Twitter. But I hope you guys, stick around for more. I have a few projects still coming on the way with a big project that I'm excited for sometime in June, probably, maybe July, with Spider-Man in it. But upcoming next is actually a claymation, and I'm excited for you guys to see that. It's coming soon. Subscribe, like, share, whatever, thank you all so much for watching again. Really appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys next time.